Shut up and sit down.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Newman.
Head like this, coast like that, brake like this, stopping like that. Rolling, just rolling along. Rolling, just rolling along. Rolling down the street outside my front door.
You've pressed play on another illustrious episode of the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. American author Wilfred Arlen Peterson once said, "A person practices the art of adventure when they break the chain of routine and renews their life through reading new books, traveling to new places, making new friends, taking up new hobbies, and adopting new viewpoints." So I ask, when was your last adventure?
Rolling, just rolling along. Head like this, coast like that, ring like this, turning like that.
So how does it feel to be heckled all the time?
Well, you get used to it after a couple years of it, all the time. It's really good. Yeah.
So
It's like a rainbow in a rainstorm. Feels good.
Rolling, this is riding a bike. Rolling, this is riding a bike.
Cut your zip ties off, bro.
Yeah, dude, that's not air at all, man. You're wasting rot. Oh, boo. I'm more disappointed than your mother. Oh, boo. I knew you were going to walk in when I saw your sunglasses on your helmet, you roadie.
All right, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance No Pants in the house.
In studio.
In studio.
I screwed it up already.
I love it when you're in studio.
He does have a towel over his.
I'm in a cycling kit, and I don't have pants on, and I have a towel. Yeah,
Lance No Pants. Yeah. You did it correctly. Then I feel like your intro was spot on.
And to Lance's right, Evan Price.
What do we got here, Matt? What is this?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is a wings. Some stewardess gave us
from United.
Yeah, from United gave us one of those little wings for. They give them to kids and adults that ask specifically for them, like myself.
So why are you still wearing them?
Yeah, because I'm flying the Friendly Skies.
Because he was the pilot's lieutenant during the flight. Did he let you fly the plane?
Oh yeah, that's how we got here so quickly. Got right on time for the podcast.
And to Evan's right, Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Good. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Right.
You guys,
fantastic.
You look good. You look good.
Thank you very much.
Right.
All right, let's jump right into the Backpedal. Lance.
I'm going first?
You are going first.
Oh, boy. The person
You've been gone forever, so you're going to go first.
Okay, so... yes, I traveled through almost 20 states in the last 2.5 weeks.
Nice work.
I rode in 11 different states in the last 2 weeks.
Wait, so you didn't ride through 9 states?
Yeah, there was some that I just drove through.
That's disappointing.
I had miles to make up. I had places to be.
There's plenty of states you can just ride through. Like, you don't need to stop at like.
I was going to say, is that by choice or?
It wasn't by choice. It was.
What was the least eventful state?
Florida sucks, man.
I was born in Florida. Let's take it easy on Florida.
He almost said Alabama, but he knows I
almost said Alabama.
I would have jumped across the table.
He was going to insult one of us too over here. So.
I would have jumped across the table and strangled you with your own dialed kit.
It's just so flat and so humid, and summertime there is just no good.
Oh, well, yeah, you're there in August. I mean.
Yeah. I shouldn't. I
remember.
I retract my statement. I retract my former statement that Florida sucks, since 2 of my daughters are living there for the next 5 months.
Okay. How close are they to the hurricane?
It's kind of skirting up the coast, and
Sure.
Orlando is a couple hours inland, or like an hour.
Only an hour, yeah.
Oh, an hour inland.
1 hour in.
So they could get hammered.
Yeah, they'll get some rain.
They'll get some tropical flow.
They'll get some, but
rain,
they
all
won't
fun stuff.
shouldn't be flooding or anything.
Gotcha.
They'll be all right.
And I think the main part's going to hit a little bit north, too.
Yeah.
So north and on the coast, so they'll get some rain.
Oh, that's good that they're out of harm's way.
See, I haven't even gotten to my Backpedal yet. I'm still yabbering about Florida. There's 3 things I wanted to talk about in my Backpedal. The first one, I did a mountain bike ride at Powder Mountain, Utah, with a buddy of mine. And Powder Mountain was just in the tour of Utah. Mm-hmm. It had that ridiculous 8.5 mile climb, averaging.
What was it, like 11 or 12% or something?
I think it
crazy,
averaged
wasn't it?
9%, but the steep is 16%. But 8.5 miles long. As long and as steep as Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I drove my van up that thing, and I'm like, this is stupid. But on the mountain bike ride, I blew out another rear tire on my mountain bike, just railing a corner. I cut a sidewall.
Oh, okay.
And tried to repair it with plugs. Usually, people don't realize this, but usually if you're tubeless, if you pop your tire, the sealant tubes it up. But when the cut is in the sidewall, they don't seal very well. And I stuck 3 plugs in that thing, and it just wouldn't seal all the way. So I ended up having to put a tube in it. But put a tube in it, it's
fine.
It went just fine. So had to buy a new tire though.
So tubes over tubeless, is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I was saying.
That's what I heard. Yep.
That's all I heard.
From there, I drove to Idaho, and my plan was to do Rebecca's Private Idaho, the big gravel stage race. Mm-hmm. It was 3 different stages, but I was only going to do the first 2 stages, and I ended up only doing the first stage. I bailed on the second stage.
Just too tired?
No, there was twice as many participants this year than last year.
Yeah.
And the first stage was like 45 miles or 43 miles and like 3,500 feet of elevation gain. But the first 17 miles were all on single track. And so it really favored mountain bikers. And I can handle my bike pretty well, so I was really stoked for it. And I just got blown away. And I flatted, actually. I flatted there, too. I railed through a rock garden. And, I'm on my gravel bike, so no suspension at all. And I flatted on my rear. And that time, the sealant did seal, and I was able to hit it with the CO2, and it reinflated, and I was able to keep going, and I rode the rest of the way. So the tubeless stuff works. Believe it or not, I flatted, and I only got held up about 2.5 minutes max, because you spin the wheel, and so the sealant kind of fills up the hole.
Yep. And that's like less than a minute that can happen. Well, that can happen while you're riding sometimes too, as long as you're not on gravel, I'd imagine. But yeah.
I just lost too much air, so I hit it with the CO2 cartridge.
Just spun it.
Yep. I rode another half mile, and it wasn't quite filled up enough, so I stopped again and hit it with another CO2, and then I was good for the rest of the
What sealant are you using?
I'm using Orange Seal.
Orange Seal? How do you like that?
I've had pretty good luck with it. It's always the question, but the 2 big players are Orange Seal or Stans.
Yeah.
And I switched to Orange Seal last year, and I've had very few problems with it. It didn't seem like it worked that well on my road bike, but now I'm on like ride 30 on my road bike with no flats.
Sure.
So it finally just kind of worked.
Gotcha.
So that was fun. I woke up the next day and thought I could do the second stage, which was an uphill gravel time trial.
Yeah.
Two things which I'm terrible at. Time trials and uphill. So I thought, why am I going to do this stage if I'm just going to drive home and do this cyclocross race? Because the goal for me was really to do well in the cyclocross race. So I ended up not doing that second stage, and I drove home that morning.
Ride that day?
I did not.
No.
Yeah, I got in the van and drove the 9 hours home, and that was it, and got ready for.
On the previous podcast, you were like, maybe I'll drive back.
Are you roughly driving as much as like your long haul truckers do right now? I feel like that's about the hours you're putting in.
Well, I'd put in 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day driving.
You're either driving or riding a bicycle now.
Yeah.
Like that's
eating, sleeping, driving, or riding. Those 4 things. That was it.
I mean, he's basically a professional cyclist now, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Professional cyclist, self-sponsored.
Self-sponsored.
Cyclist.
The sponsorship is a great deal. I mean,
you got a van out of that sponsor. I'm a driver.
I'm willing to accept any sponsors who want to sponsor me at this point. Those of you who are listening out there and want to sponsor.
Oh my God, we could just slap all this stuff all over the van.
I'll show some love.
That's actually not a bad idea. He's got a great Instagram already.
Instagram.
Anybody listening?
So I busted home for the first cyclocross race of the season, the first big one here in the Portland area, the Grand Prix Luciano Bailey series. There are 5 races in the series. They always name it after a different person. Luciano Bailey is the play-by-play announcer who's been doing it for Obra for years and years. So if you ever go to a race and you hear somebody commentating on what's happening, that's Luciano.
Yeah. He's incredible.
He is awesome.
He does such a great job, and that man has got a mind and a memory like no other. He sees you once and he reads your name once. It's like he remembers you for the rest of time. There's so like we were at a cyclocross this past race. There's hundreds of people out there, and like every time people come around, he's calling out the people's names. He's like, he knows everybody. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so it's cool that they named the series after him this year. So, yeah, I showed up. It's at Dave Douglas Park in Vancouver, Washington, and I was racing a new category this year. I get to race the 50 plus, and I was really excited for it, and I got smoked. Yeah. It is.
That's a fast age group.
Well, I wouldn't say you got smoked. The point of that race was pretty stinking fast.
Oh my gosh!
But I mean, there was how many people in your category?
There was 45 racers.
Okay, and you got 9th.
I got 9th.
That's not getting smoked, but I can see what you're saying about like the top 3 guys. Those guys were moving.
Well, the guy who won it is a former national champion and a Cat 1 roadie still.
Yep.
The guy second and third are both Cat 2 roadies, I believe, and Cat 1 cyclocross guys.
Okay.
So they're just fast guys.
Yeah.
I was really excited because this is a good category for me.
Sure.
And I started really hot. I don't know. I led the first lap. I got out and thought I'm gonna get to the single track in the lead just to give myself a chance.
Yeah.
And I got through the whole first section of single track in the lead, and then boom, boom, boom. They just started zinging past me, and
They're like, "Thank you for the lead out on
yeah,
the first
that's
lap."
right.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, who is this guy? And then we're gonna leave you now. So
yeah,
but I had a good time. So
that was fun to watch.
Yeah. Jake called me, what'd you call me? Mr. Wheezy?
Were you wheezing?
Yeah. When I'm anaerobic, and I was for 45 solid minutes,
right.
I wheeze loudly when I'm breathing. I cannot sneak up on anybody.
So there was this study done a long time ago, and it was really odd, but they basically decided that you could actually increase your VO2 max by a fraction if you wheezed.
Well, there you go. That was my plan all along.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Have you seen this?
So
it was done in the 70s, the study, I think.
I think the theory behind that is, so like in your lungs you have those alveoli, which are the little sacs.
I have no idea.
Little sacs where they inflate and then...
Are you speaking American right now?
Yeah, okay. Just think of it this way.
The oxygen exchange happens.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right where the exchange happens. So if you're wheezing, it's kind of like when you grunt during lifting, like when they've done the studies of like yelling, grunting, Valsalva maneuver sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It opens up think of it. It just creates pressure basically.
Yeah.
But now would I suggest trying to do that for
That was me.
4 hours? No.
Or 45 minutes?
I can do it for 45 minutes, unfortunately.
I'm impressed. I could do that for 5 minutes and I'd probably be toast.
I was taking pictures of his race,
Please.
and I was trying to take pictures of more than just our
video of his
teammates.
voice.
Well, I was taking pictures of everybody, and I'm taking pictures, and I'm not even faced towards Lance, and I can hear him coming like, oh, got to turn around and take a picture of Lance.
Lance. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Probably terrifying anybody in the group with like, oh, he's about to crack it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Cool. All right, Lance. Thank you for your back
You
pedal.
bet.
Welcome back to the studio.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back to the great state of Washington.
Evan, back pedal for us.
So as we saw in the last podcast, I had Traverse City race, which seems like it was yesterday, but I guess what was that, a week ago now?
That was a week ago.
That was a week ago now. I have one more race to go through, which is a front pedal, but this seems like I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever try to do 3 races in 6 weeks again. This is just too much. It's
you're a professional. This is what you do as a professional.
No, I'm a professional physical therapist is what I am. No, it's been fun. I know, like I mentioned before, just to delve in, because my back pedal, like Traverse City is such an awesome city. Anybody really listening to this who is a triathlete, put that on your like bucket list races. That is like a gem of Michigan. Because I know everybody from the Pacific Northwest, you say like, oh, hey, Michigan's beautiful. Like, yeah, whatever. No, really. Like, and I know Matt believes me here because Matt's seen quite a bit of Michigan. There are pockets of Michigan that are, I won't say as beautiful as Pacific Northwest, but if you're going like a step down from the Pacific Northwest, you're looking at places in Michigan. Just the lake life there.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff for sure.
Yeah,
there's some nice little, I mean, I would call them like tourist towns and things like that.
And that's
Traverse City probably falls into
and that's
that.
basically exactly what Traverse City is. It's like a
it's nice.
Yeah, very touristy area. Actually, tourism is really what drives that entire city. So,
and they have a lot of these festivals and things like that, and so people could check out like the Cherry Festival or
the movie festival was the other one.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. And so now I think that having one of these Ironman races is kind of like their one of their festivals that they'll roll with. Hopefully,
and the city came out and supported it, which was the coolest part, really. But yeah, outside of that, I got back on Monday and did a hard swim bike, which, yeah, like you said, Lance, I guess that's what you do when you're a professional. I guess it's like you
Just
get
go back to work.
I was like, all right, well, I got 2 hard workouts today, the day that I got back off the plane. But yeah, feeling good this week. Going into next week, I will be racing my last race, Santa Cruz, and then I'm just going to sit on the beach for a day.
Nice.
And try to not move as much as possible.
You call the podcast from the beach.
Yeah. That's actually my plan. Is I'm going to be calling it.
That's
somebody who did that once.
That's been done before.
I've already, Lance has done it. I'm going to try and do it better by I'll just have Cassie talk the entire time because she'll be way more interesting than me. So
you should go find a sea lion and sit down and interview.
I should. So okay, yeah. Here's going to be my backpedal. Is a prediction of what's going to happen is where you got to swim around this pier in Santa Cruz, which is highly populated by great white sharks. Not making this up. It is because there's a lot of sea lions there, so there's a lot of great white sharks. If I don't make that mid-pack in the swim, there's a good chance I'm going to be eaten by either a great white shark or a sea lion.
Are you going to panic and have to put your hand up?
Oh, if I see a sea lion, if I now, I mean, like, it's one thing when you're swimming around the piers, you see the sea lions. If I see a sea lion swim by me, I mean, I'm going to have a real moment there where it's like going to be fight or flight. It's either going to be freeze or I'm just going to start swimming as fast as I ever have in my life.
Flight. And just go flying through the water, man.
Flight.
Or maybe I could hitch a ride on him.
I think fight.
Fight the sea lion? Is that what I need to do is fight the sea lion?
All right, so we got 2 votes flight. We got 2 votes flight.
Okay. We'll see when the moment comes if I'm going to... Where do you hit? I know where you hit a shark. What do you do with a sea lion?
I'm pretty sure, anywhere is a nice soft spot for your hand to hit.
The entire thing is like made of blubber. There's no way I'm going to be able. Like, there's no soft spot on that.
Your hand's not going to get hurt. You hit that blubber.
Because at least with the shark, if you nail it on the nose, like it's going to leave you alone. Hitting the nose of a sea lion, that's like, there's no way. It's so small. The
Just
face.
give up.
Put your finger in his
curl up
butt.
a ball.
There you go. Yeah.
Fight or flight or give up.
I'm for sure. Like, I saw a picture once online of this sea lion. I don't think he was trying to attack me, but he was like stalking behind him as he was swimming. I swear, if I turn around and see a sea lion behind me, I'm gonna...
Just look at the feet in front of you.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Just don't lose the pack. Just don't lose the pack.
Matt, would you like to backpedal for us?
Yes, I would love to backpedal for you guys.
Do it to it.
Just got off the bus from Alabama. I just flew in from the airport, and I stopped home, dropped off some stuff, and came here to the podcast. It's always good to have the whole crew in the studio.
Yes.
Really nice. But while I was traveling, I traveled first to Michigan in Ionia. That's where I was for the last podcast.
Yep.
It was really cool. I actually ran a fair amount because there's not much to do in Ionia.
Nice.
It's not one of those tourist towns that we were talking about.
Not quite the visit Michigan towns.
Yeah, and so there was like a nice. I mean, it's all dirt roads and stuff. It was great. But they do have this rails to trails thing, and I was like, all right. My wife was like, I need to do my long run. Will you bike next to me? And so I biked 13 miles.
Sweet.
Kind of first ride back, sort of.
Did you borrow a bike from somebody?
I borrowed a bike, and it was a road bike with like 22s on the, and I was like on these like, and it was not all paved. It was like gravel and stuff like that. And I was like, oh geez, I really don't want to fall down. No. But it was really cool. It was a nice, it was like a date. It was like us having a date on a little romantic run bike date. And so I ran. I ran a fair amount this week. I ran like 4 or 5 times, which is a lot. I did like 22 miles this past week.
That's really good.
I know. I'm like, who is that? I don't know.
And Achilles is feeling better?
Achilles feels... calves and Achilles problems that I was having are better. I think just having the extra time off with the bike crash has been good for my legs a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going slow, but that's, whatever. It's the bouncing has been better as far as the shoulder goes. When I first tried to run a little bit, like bouncing was hurting my shoulder. And right now it's good. Seems to be pretty okay. So a little bit of biking, a little bit of running, and I actually swam a couple times as well. Recently, so we went from Ionia to Alabama for my grandmother's 95th birthday. Super cool trip.
Wow.
But my uncle is a big swimmer, and so I got to swim with my older brother and my uncle, and we went to the University of Alabama's, pool, and it was like outdoors. I got absolutely fried on my back.
Yeah.
My uncle was like, "You don't need sunscreen." I was like, "All right, fine." And I swam like over 2,000 meters, which was crazy to think that my shoulder can actually do that. So I was pretty pumped about that, even though that wasn't super fast either. But yeah, that was just it was a nice kind of. mean, I like to think that it was like whirlwind trip or whatever, but then I'm sitting across the table from Lance. And I'm like, oh man, I went to 2 locations.
I was in Alabama as well.
You're in Southern Alabama.
I did drive through Mobile, Southern Alabama.
I think you would like Northern Alabama a bit more, where I'm from.
The southern part is not cool.
Right. Does it rank up there with Florida?
It ranks up there with Louisiana.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Louisiana. That's where I was born.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're going to get it, man.
He just railed on Florida, Alabama, and Louisiana.
Yeah.
Compared to the Pacific Northwest,
for biking, this is not where it's not where you want to bike.
I woke up, it was like 99% humidity. I'm like, what is this? I can like feel the air with my hands.
I tried to run yesterday. I ran 6 miles, and as soon as I started, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It was thick. I was going so slow. Did you happen to go Gulf Coast Beach? Did you hop on any of those beaches?
No, I have
They're
been
so beautiful.
I've been to Destin and Pensacola and those beaches before.
Destin's one of my favorite beaches.
They're beautiful.
They're perfect beaches. And you come to the beaches out here and you're like,
you're right.
It's
No,
different.
those are white, sandy, beautiful beaches. Yeah.
They are.
Biking, no. But for beach time, yes. Yeah. So
if you don't want to do endurance sports, they're awesome. Awesome states.
Fantastic place to be. Yeah. So that's it. That's it for me. Jake, how about you? Anything?
Nothing really great to report. I had cyclocross practice. Went to that. Was all like excited because it was.
You
the
took
last,
some awesome pictures. That's for sure.
It was the last cyclocross practice before the actual first cyclocross race of the season. Went out and I strained my shoulder. So yay!
You gotta be kidding me.
No, turns out that carrying a bike in your arms or your hands running over barriers is not happy times. If you do that too many times, it hurts your shoulder. If your shoulder's already messed up,
Okay.
So it was pretty smarting and not feeling so happy for about 3 days, and woke up the morning of the cross race and decided this is a bad idea, and decided just to go out there and watch and take pictures instead. So
So you're thinking cyclocross this season is kind of a...
I don't know. Evan and I were talking about this before the podcast, and I'm still kind of on the fence. We're going to do one last cyclocross practice this coming Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm going to go out there and see how it does, because there's an entry. It's at the Vancouver Lake. There's an entry onto the beach, and it's pretty thick stand. I'm not sure if my shoulder's going to handle that, and then the barriers as well. I'm not 100% sure.
It's like you can ride into the sand, but you can't ride out of it. Is the way it goes, right?
At that race, there's a long sand run that you have to do, and you'll be carrying your bike that whole time.
Oh,
it's like a.
I thought people.
I can shoulder that
into
just
it.
fine.
Yeah, you just need to shoulder it.
You ride into it.
You can ride into it,
and then you ride along the water.
Yep.
And
then when you have to
carry it out.
Carry it out.
Yeah.
And it's like 80 yards, or it's a long run for cyclocross. Yeah.
There's a barrier though that's on the hardpack part of the beach that I'll have to get over, and it's just it's the holding the bike, and it's the getting back on the bike, running and jumping back on, and I'm stabilizing with my left arm and my left shoulder. Not so happy. Just has been kind of problematic. I can do just about all the other stuff just fine. I'm a little bit worried because it's so weak and strained right now about hitting the beach. I'm like, all right, if I hit the beach, am I going to be able to like withhold and keep myself from going down?
Oh, people go down all the time there.
Yeah.
That's like the spot. If you want to watch someone go down, that might be a good spot to take photos.
Yeah. So exactly. There have been some
people just sand coming
classic
out of their
pictures,
mouth.
like the full-on scorpion face plant inside the sand, people flying in. Oh, so good. But the question is like, I want to go out there, and I don't want to go out there just to do it. I want to be out there and being competitive. And I don't want to go out there just to go out there and go around a bunch of times and come in like mid-pack, because I know that I'm better than that. Mm-hmm. So is it worth doing it? Is it worth risking further injury? I don't know. I've got to make my mind up this week whether or not it's going to happen or not. And
what category would you race?
I'm still at Category 3. Yeah. And I was going back and looking. You cannot self-declare up to Category 2.
No.
And you need a certain amount of points within a 12-month time period. Being that I missed all of last season, I have 0 points. So I'm a Cat 3. I have no other choice. I'll race the Masters Cat 3. And I know some of those guys, and I know that I can hang with them in other venues. I just don't know how I'm going to do in cross.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. Well, we'll report back next week in the Backpedal, and I'll tell you how it all went down.
We're actually in the same field. The 50 pluses and the Masters 35 threes race the same time.
Did they start you before them?
We started it. I think they swap it up.
Oh, they do?
But this week, the 50s went first.
Gotcha.
So
they do like just a couple minutes in between, right?
If that.
No, it's like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
6 seconds.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. And then outside of that, just did a fun little ride yesterday. Went out with Chris Handel and his daughter Kylie. And Kylie is turning into a little beast. She's 13, going to be 14 in November. and we rode from all up Marine Drive all the way out to Vista House, and
cool.
that's up to the gorge. And she hung with us, and Lance was with us at the first part of the ride. And Lance and I were going, like casually. I mean, not going super hard, but we were still going 22, 23, 24 miles an hour. She's just standing there, just trucking right along. She's
right on her wheel.
Yep.
She knows how to.
Yeah, just right in the draft. We didn't drop her at all. It was awesome.
And she held her own on the climbs too.
No, did Chris have a crash?
He
recently?
Did. A week ago.
A car, something?
He got left hooked. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. A car.
Both of them did.
Yeah.
He and his daughter.
They were both riding together, and the car just didn't see him and clipped Chris, and Kylie just barely missed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a clip, Chris. He went straight into the passenger door, dented the whole door, and busted the whole window in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So we're thankful that
Is he picking
that wasn't
glass out of
worse.
his arm, or is he okay?
He got some stitches. I don't believe he had any glass in there,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a scary moment. I mean, it was a mom. I don't know if she was distracted or didn't see or what the case in point was, but she was in the car with her kid and scared the Jesus out of the kid. It was like a little
scared the kid to death. Yeah,
7 or 8 year old kid in the car with them. So. But yeah, he's thankfully okay. And that was his first ride back. So it was him getting back on the horse and getting back out there, and Kylie too, for that matter.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was fun riding with them. And then we met my wife out there at the Vista House.
Oh, wow.
And she rode all the way out there with some of her friends. They started from about the same spot that I met Chris and his daughter. And then I rode back with her when some of her friends went on to Multnomah Falls. And so she pushed out her longest ride. That her longest ride now was 38 miles. And she's actually going to be in a half Ironman team, a relay team, and she's taking the bike leg. So she's working up to that, and it's like I think in like 2 or 3 weeks from now. So she's got to ride 56 miles. So that was a big confidence booster for her, and we've got her doing a longer one.
Is that going to be the best in the West race? Probably.
No, I think I don't know what it is. I thought it was a half. I don't know, like an Ironman branded.
Oh,
event, but I don't know.
Ironman?
Maybe it is.
I don't even know myself. So
Cool.
It was interesting. She called me because she wasn't sure. Like, should I do the swim or should I do the bike? And I told her she could do either.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she asked you, and you're like, bike, of course, bike.
Well, and I gave her for good reason. I'm like, if you get into trouble, or if you have a moment where you're just fatigued or whatnot, you can't really just stop in the swim.
This is a good point. Yes.
You can pull over on your bike if you need to, or you can slow down. You don't have to worry about drowning. So
but she would be fine in the swim. Yeah. I'm pretty confident. She trains, she swims, she practices. She'll be fine. Yeah. I think biking is just one of those things where it's more work. It's a harder leg to do. You know. 30 minutes of swimming or 56 miles of biking. The swimming is not that intense.
Yeah,
but
it's 56 miles and just a little over 2,000 feet of elevation gain. So it's not like a monster of a ride, but for her, that's big. So
it'll be big. And but I told her just a couple long rides potentially. I said, with your husband or whatever.
We've been talking about it as well. So that was the big thing for this weekend, was make sure that she gets out there, gets that done, and gets that under her belt. And she did fantastic.
Yeah,
so.
And she's running a lot too. So that's They had that. What it was the Hood to Coast? Was that last weekend?
Hood to Coast was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
It was
recently.
It was not this weekend.
Last
we just
weekend.
finished, but the weekend prior. So cool.
Traverse City.
All right. Enough of that backpedaling nonsense.
I got more personal stories though.
Of what?
I'm just kidding.
You got some. Talk about your pants.
Lance was in 20 states. He has a story for each state, I think.
Okay, we're going to do the lead out news sprint style so we can stay on target here. Lance, you want to hit the local stuff for us real quick?
Local stuff, the big race this weekend, the David Douglas cyclocross race, the pro men's 1-2 race was won by our own Robert Cummings.
Wow.
Yeah,
yes.
He's in crazy good shape right now.
Yes.
Very,
he's
very
in,
good shape.
He's in great shape.
He's gonna have
They
a fun
are in
season.
good shape. Thank you very much.
Yes,
They are.
they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake. Robert did great. I was able to watch the race. He basically, 3 guys broke away, him and Andrew Coe and Josh Kelly. Both Andrew Coe and Josh Kelly are like superstars.
I was going to say, if he's hanging with Josh Kelly,
He's hanging with Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly went down on the first lap.
Oh, okay.
And jumped back up and got right back in it, but then just fell off after, fell off the pace.
Stay with Robert.
No.
Nobody's going to stay with Robert.
And then
right now.
Robert just sat on Andrew's wheel for like 2 laps, and then the last corner just blitzed him. It was really fun to watch. So
That's
great.
really
I know
fun to
Tonk just went on a ride with him recently.
Yes.
And was saying
he's super
like
strong.
Robert is in
They are
strong
super
shape
strong
right now. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
An interesting note about that, the Pro 1-2 race, is Clara Hungsinger, who rides for Team S&M. She's a professional cyclocross racer. Okay. She raced the pro men's field.
She's the national champion, isn't she?
She's the national champion.
Yes.
And she took 8th out of the.
That's the right thing
guys.
to do. Is like, this is what I wish. We have this problem with like, high school running or whatever. You have people that are just far and away better. Like, move them to the men's. Move them to the men's field. Like, you can have a better experience that way, and that athlete gets a better workout.
So that was really cool to see. Yep. So our team did great. We had like 25 people there.
Nice.
We had like 8 different podiums. So we had a lot of good stuff there. It was fun to be there. A lot of camaraderie. It was just
Dialed remains in first on the season by a few points.
Couple.
Smoking that. So.
Just a couple points.
Yeah, that's going to be a topic for down the road we need to discuss. So we'll touch on that another podcast.
Yep.
Evan, you want to get into some international stuff?
So the Vuelta this week with stage 9 just finished yesterday, and it was I know like if you're not keeping up with the Vuelta, just watch stage 9. It was incredible. It was a shorter stage. I think it was like a little bit less than 100K. I think it was like 90 some K.
Yep.
Had a gravel section that, because of the weather, did not make it onto. They don't have cameras there. As Lance was saying, the helicopters were pulled away.
There was a huge thunderstorm, hailstorm that hit, and so the helicopters had to move out of the area. Yep. So there was no live shots.
Coverage.
Yeah.
So Lopez crashed. Roglic crashed into some other team's car.
Oops.
That was like pulled over to the side, but not really to the side. So Roglic crashes into that, and of course. So once the cameras come back, there's anybody who's been watching the Vuelta closely this year, basically the story of the race is coming down to movie stars' leadership squabbles, which I think you could just sum up the entirety of movie stars' existence into a leadership squabble at all times.
Yeah.
Valverde and Quintana are going back and forth on one day one guy will say Valverde's leading the team. This is Valverde's team. And then Quintana will attack that day. He'll attack his leader, which doesn't seem like a very lieutenant thing to do. And then the very next day, Valverde will say, no, Quintana's the leader. And then he will attack him. It makes no sense. And if they don't win the Vuelta this year, they literally only have themselves to blame. But right now, Quintana's in the red being the leadership jersey. But, just in his wings, you have Roglic right behind there, Angel Lopez, Pogačar, who is this very, very young rider who just won stage 9 and rode out of his mind.
20 years old.
I think he was the youngest Vuelta stage winner since like 1981.
Yeah, and he won that stage yesterday going away.
Yeah, and it was a strong stage. This wasn't like a breakaway style stage. This was the stage where the big players come out. So he outpaced Quintana and everybody. So we will see what the next week brings, because there is a lot of climbing to come in this Grand Tour.
Interesting.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. A little segue there for you real quick. Quintana just signed with a new team.
Yes.
So he is with a pro continental team. Is it Arkea Samsic? Something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but something like that. But anyway, he's leaving the team at the end of the 2019 season. And do you know who he's joining on that team?
Who?
Warren Barguil.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's going to be a fun team.
Yeah, that could be interesting. So,
but I mean, it was time for him to leave Movistar. There's so many. Every single Grand Tour you have who's leading Movistar, and then at the end of the day, it's like doesn't matter because they're he won the Vuelta. What was it, 3 years ago? I think.
Yeah.
He's been successful, but Movistar as a team, for how wildly talented they are, have been wildly unsuccessful.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, they're no Trek. But
question for you: is it Movistar or Movistar?
I say Movistar, but I hear a lot of the British announcers say Movistar.
I thought it was Movi, but that's just me. But anyway,
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's M-O-V-I star, so there is no E.
I'm just curious. So, okay. Matt, do you have any news?
No, I've been hidden away in the jungles of Michigan, so I was.
He has that cell service.
Of Alabama.
Yeah.
He has that cell service.
All right, let's move on. Hey, we've got a new segment. Did you guys hear about this on the news? Just kidding. No, it's a new segment. It's called our Listener Hot Lap. And we are going to connect with one of our listeners, and we're going to try and do this as often as possible. Today, we are going to be talking with Gerrie Delport, a gentleman who has been listening to us for some time and sounds like a great guy, and we wanted to reach out to him. If you or anybody that listens to this show wants to call in and chat with us, hit us up on our Facebook. You can go to @Dial Podcast and send us a direct message, and we will make all the arrangements to connect with you. On that note, let's give Gerrie a call.
Gerrie, hello.
Gerrie, this is Jake from the Dial Podcast. How are you?
Good, and you, Jake?
I'm doing well. I am here with Lance, Evan, and Matt, and we wanted to welcome you to the show for our first listener hot lap.
What's up, Gerrie?
How's it going, Gerrie?
Busy and having fun. Thanks, guys.
Good.
Nice.
Hey, Gerrie, real quick, where's that you live?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay.
So it is starting to cool down now, so we have time to get on the bikes again.
That's good.
It's just heating up here now. Like, we're just getting summer now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been toasty.
It has been.
Yeah. Hey, Gerrie, real quick, I had a question for you. How in the world did you first learn of and hear the Dial Podcast?
So it was round about I think the first few 10 in the beginning. I was chatting to Justin while we were cycling, Justin Wagner.
Yep.
And he mentioned, he's listening to this podcast of 4 guys talking about cycling. And I'm like, well, that sounds sort of interesting. I like cycling, but I don't know if I can listen to 4 guys talking about cycling. And yes, I've been hooked since then. I've been listening to every single podcast from there on.
That is great.
That's a good way to describe us. That should be like in our bio.
So it's all Justin's fault.
Thanks, Justin.
4 guys talking about cycling.
Gerrie, this is Lance. My question for you was, what's your favorite segment on the show?
Probably the Backpedal.
Do
you? Okay.
It is. I really like what you guys are doing. I'm sort of living through your lives, what you guys are doing.
See, I'm not talking too much, you guys.
No, you're not talking too much. I don't know where people get that idea.
No, Lance's backpedals are usually my favorite part, actually. So Gerrie, the follow up to that is, what would be your least favorite? It can either be a segment or voice on the podcast. Okay,
a segment or a voice. I don't think there's a bad voice on there. The worst segment? No, you don't have a worst segment.
Oh, good. Okay.
All of them are pretty good. The one last thing is one of those things that I think, okay, it's going to be ending now, and then I drive into my driveway and it just keeps going and going.
And you're sitting in your driveway just listening.
At me, and I'm in the car listening, and she's in a meeting. I'm like, no, I'm just finishing this podcast. They should be done now. And yes,
but Evan won't shut up.
I think
we should definitely try and tighten those up. I
think it's because my one last thing is like 5 last things.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm perfectly guilty of that as well.
There's always something more.
Yeah. Gerrie, I have a couple questions for you. Connecticut, do you do any gravel riding there? I hear it's fantastic.
No, I don't do any gravel riding.
Okay.
I'm more of a roadie.
All right.
So I stay on the hard black stuff. So I've got a mountain bike. I don't do that competitively because I'm not crazy enough to go downhill so fast. So I can keep my pace uphill on the flat roads, but once the guys start to go downhill, I'm like, nope, this is not for me. So I'll do it for the fun, but I prefer the road.
Nice.
Well, we need to get you coming out here once and convince you that gravel riding is amazing. I'm sure Lance can take you on a couple rides in Idaho, Oregon area.
Ted King does stuff in the Vermont, New Hampshire area.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There was Jeremy Powers too. Same thing. He goes up there and does some cool rides. Mm-hmm. So jealous.
What's your favorite ride in that region, Gerrie?
So in this region, we've got a nice little loop around the Barkhamstadt Reservoir, which basically it's just rollers up and down the whole time, and you can do multiple laps. There's very few cars there, so that is probably one of my favorites. I wanted to do it today, and I had a friend that came with, and he's pretty new to the sport, and I said, well, let's take the rails to trails. It's nice and flat, and we'll do 50 miles. So we had fun today on a flat road.
Is your rails to trail all paved, or do you have some sections?
It is all paved, so I can use my road bike.
Nice.
That is very nice.
Okay, Gerrie, here's the big one. You got any questions for us?
Uh-oh.
Got any questions for you guys? Probably not right now.
It's like
we
talk about ourselves all the time. There's no questions. It's a very brutally honest group.
There's no mysteries there.
No. That's an open book.
Yeah. That is probably the feedback I get most is that there really is just like a lot of open talk on the podcast, which I like. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes it a lot easier.
A follow-up question to that. Is there a topic you would like us to cover and a possible guest that you would like to have us have on the podcast?
Oh, the guest is the easy one. That'll definitely be Lance.
Yes.
I can't imagine anybody else that's going to be a better guest than that. That's Lance Armstrong, though.
Let's get
right here.
Not Lance Romance.
Lance Romance. I love that.
We need to, we got to have Hincappy on too if we're gonna have if we're gonna have Armstrong, we got to have his lieutenant with him too. So
gotcha.
Have him there to keep him in check.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a good idea, but you'll have to filter the sound a lot. So
yes.
So you don't get all the swearing through there. Topics to discuss probably. Just ride etiquette. I think that's a pretty nice one. And I was talking with a friend today, and he said just tips on riding. But I know we've covered that a few times, and
it's always
I think
it's always a good topic to come back to. Yeah.
I think we've danced. I think you're right, Jerry. I think we've danced around it a bit, but
yes,
I think really getting into like group ride etiquette, like what are the nuances of that specifically? Yeah,
exactly. Yep. So we saw this group today, and they were just riding 5 abreast on the road. It was a quiet road, but they were just. I'm like, guys, no, you should just fall in line and just keep the rules. We don't want cars to get upset with us right now.
Amen.
Yeah. maybe a good like also just like the kind of rotating echelon sort of ride etiquette because. I was lucky enough this weekend to be in a really good, solid echelon. I realized actually the skill that's involved in that.
Yeah.
And I remember
so
last winter, I know we had a ride where we were trying to teach some of the younger guys that, and when it falls apart, that can really fall apart pretty bad. So.
Yeah, just teaching them once you get into that, as long as you take a 5-second pull at the front, but just pull through. Just don't just sit at the back. I know you don't have the power that we've got, but at least just pull through. Just make it
get
through
over to the right.
It helps a lot.
Awesome. All right, Jerry, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you listening, and it's been a blast chatting with you. So maybe we can do this again in the future.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks for keeping this up. I'll be listening on Wednesday.
Absolutely, Jerry.
You'll be there. All right,
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, Jerry. Take care, bud.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
All right, that was pretty cool. That was fun talking with Jerry, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Jerry's super cool.
Yeah.
Really,
he's got like a good voice for podcasts.
He does.
Like a lot better voice than our voices.
Yeah.
So.
He sounds way better than us.
He does. Yeah.
I hope this becomes a regular thing because it's fun to connect with the listeners and find out what they like and what they don't like. You know?
Yeah, because we were talking about the backpedal, and we're like, there's people talking about ourselves. We got to cut. We got to cut this
favorite thing.
It's like, that's good.
That's what he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to keep doing it.
I think it's because none of us are spectacular at anything, so we're very easy to relate to. Like, very easy to relate to. Be like, and then I got dropped off that ride. I lost again. Yeah.
What are the chances that we can actually connect to somebody that listens abroad? We have people listening to us in 36 different countries. That blows my mind.
Lance is huge in Iceland. Can we please connect with somebody in Iceland?
Somebody
from Iceland listening to this message us. The first person from Iceland to message us, we will get you on the podcast.
Maybe Bjork or something like that.
Yes.
All right, let's move into our next and final and only and all that other fun stuff topic. Our 10-ish cycling and triathlon things that we are looking forward to this fall and winter.
10-ish, guys.
10-ish.
Okay, ish.
We kind of compared notes here, and I don't know if it's going to land on 10, so I wanted to say 10, but it's going to be 10-ish. It could be 9, it could be 12. Knowing us, it'll be about 23. But let's jump into this. Lance, start us off.
Well, of course, cyclocross. There's so much cyclocross happening here in the Northwest. I'm super excited for it.
It's going to be hot through like the entire first part of the season.
It always is, and then it turns nasty muddy, and then it changes everything and whatnot. So this is a weird time for me because there's weekend races that I don't want to miss, but there's also races on Tuesday nights and there's races on Wednesday nights. And
I remember this from last year's podcast. It's like, how many races did you do this week? And he's like, 47.
That was always the running joke. It's like, how many races is Lance going to do this year?
Well, and at every race too, I could double up because I could ride the 50 plus and I could ride the Master one too. And I don't know what's too much.
At some point, you'll need to sleep, I think. I'm not sure.
He's just going to take his van and sleep there.
That's right. I could go the night before and just sleep in the parking lot.
Take a nap in between races.
People show up in the morning and like try to set up, and you're like already racing. Like what?
Hepler's here already.
Race hasn't started yet, buddy. Slow down there. Slow down there. Race hasn't started yet.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited for that.
That's good.
So yeah, it's a weird time where I'm either racing or I'm trying to recover. It's like I don't get any other work in. So
cool. Evan, do you have any top 10-ish things for us?
I'm gonna steal one of Matt's right now because I know he has it up there.
Son of I only have a couple.
The Zwift classes this winter, I think are going to be. I've made a commitment in the year of 2020 and the end of 2019. So we'll make it a year commitment starting like let's say October 1st. That I am going to get gooder at technology.
Gooder.
To where
you can get gooder at speaking
Your
English.
Garmin isn't even connected anymore.
We're gonna get there, Lance. Okay, you gotta give me time.
I told you how to fix it last time.
I tried that; it didn't work.
We can help you.
So I'm gonna first learn how to work Garmin. Then immediately after that, I'm going to start joining in on the Zwift classes because I think that's going to be fun.
They're not classes.
They're group rides.
Group rides.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no class. There's no instructor.
So Jake Von Duren's spin classes, I'm going to join those.
that does sound nice.
I don't know about that.
Spinnervals with Jake Von Duren.
Can we have like an 80s night? You know, when you got to come like Spinnerville gear?
Sure.
You got to wear like tights and a headband.
I Zwift naked anyway, so I don't need any. I'm in the basement. Who's going to see me?
So we get the black light out, but I don't know if I want the black light out with Lance.
I very rarely
like
train her with a shirt on, so yeah, we could just have those days. But yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Your computer is always watching you. It's always watching you.
You put tape over the little,
is that what you do?
Video thing.
So
no, I'm an open book.
I know, right?
I'm an open book.
For those wondering what the heck Evan's talking about, they're not spin classes. They're not.
There's Zwift group rides.
Right. Yeah, we do this thing with our team and anybody else for that matter that wants to join us.
It's open to anyone.
Yeah, and we will send out invites and you can join. And we basically do this every Tuesday night. We start sometime in October, really when the weather starts to change. If it's still nice out, we'll still ride outside. And it's usually like the first or second week of October, and we go all the way until the road season starts here in pretty much March. So we will go
through the winter.
Yeah, through the winter. So it's a lot of fun. We usually connect and get started at about 6:30, and it's about a 2-hour ride. And you'd be like floored at how easy that is in comparison to doing that 2 hours by yourself. Because we're on there, we're talking to each other on Discord, and there's like things that are built into it. We've got a certain workout in mind that we're trying to get accomplished, and there's hot sections in there, and it's really a great workout. And a lot of people show up. I mean, I think we've had north of 30 people show up before. So it's a lot of fun because you could see everybody's little avatar and it's got their name above their head, and you can all drop each other and ride with each other.
Can I hook this up to my TV somehow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have to use technology.
Always use that. Matt, I'm just going to have you over and I'll lure
good.
you with beer.
I need a GI cable. And you need a few things, but you can work. Yeah.
Okay. I'll figure it out. It'll work.
If you're interested in joining that, you can actually request to join the well, maybe I won't put this out there. Just send us a message on Facebook. Go to @DialPodcast, and I'll see if I can get you connected to our group. I don't want to put this out to the entire world that wants to join the one of our closed pages where we post that information.
But maybe we can start posting the information for that ride in a particular location. But we'll work on that. I mean, it's not going to happen now, but by October.
But
you know, we'll kind of get all
maybe
the
if you want
information out.
If you want to come on and ride with us, you got to be one of our guests on the show to do the the listener hot lap.
Because you have to send out an invite.
Yeah.
You have to be connected on Zwift to do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Matt, top 10-ish thing. Or not just 10-ish thing.
Well,
we're not doing top in no particular order.
I've already taken one of his.
Triathlon takeover.
Oh,
no. Should we just get up and walk out now, Lance?
Oh, yeah.
There's an episode coming up that you guys got to get ready for. And that's when Evan and I
Everybody
will
needs to get very excited about this
We're going to talk about the triathlon. We're going to talk about triathlon stuff. It's going to be a whole episode about triathlon. We'll talk about the Kona World Championships.
Yep.
Now, that race is in October, usually mid-October.
We'll have a recap on that episode, too, of the Half Ironman World Championships, which are happening this next weekend.
Yeah.
So... We'll recap that and then preview the Kona.
We'll let you know when that's going to happen.
That's fine.
I think we're having technical difficulties.
We'll make sure that you're very healthy that day, Lance. Don't
Something's
worry.
wrong with the what's going on here?
So I think, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that's one of the big things of the fall, and so we'll have fun with that.
It's going to be the field in Kona this year may be potentially the fastest that's ever been there.
We will talk about it on the Triathlon Takeover.
We will. Just a teaser, guys.
Evan just can't contain himself
I
right
can't.
now.
It's exciting.
I can't. Yep.
All right. Mine, I am really looking forward to being able to ride outside as opposed to last year. And I really have on my list, I'm going to do this a couple times. I'm going to go do a full colors ride. Whether it be on the road bike or the mountain bike, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take a crap ton of pictures. And I know this probably isn't specific to everybody, but it's something I'm really looking forward to.
Fall colors. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
I think that would be a fantastic ride. It's a perfect time of the year. The weather's usually really nice. The temperature's really nice, and it's just beautiful out. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I've got a cycling thing that I'm looking forward to here.
What?
So you guys know the Everest Challenge?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've talked about it on here. I
Yes.
would like to get a small group together or big group if the people would really like to try it and actually pick somewhere that we could attempt the Everest Challenge. Nobody has to actually complete it. Let's see how far into the Everest Challenge we can get.
About Lacamas Lane right here, right next to us, because then we have drinks and stuff.
That's so much climbing up.
Well, but we have easy stops for bathrooms and water
true.
and all that stuff. It's it's a location wise, and you
And
get
it's
a
in
ton
neighborhood,
of,
so it's not
you get a ton of
trafficked.
elevation in a short amount of time.
This is true.
Yeah, it's about 425 feet
I
from
thought we
bottom to my house.
But we usually add a little twist to it. To make
There's
it
a little
500.
offshoot that you can kind of go up going towards Matt's house.
Yeah.
They will add another 50 feet-ish to it, and it gets to be about 500 feet per trip up.
And just for anybody listening who does, the Everest Challenge is 26,000 feet.
29,000.
Yeah. So it's 29,000 feet, and you have to find a climb there's like a limit on how much the climb can actually be, correct?
I don't know the rules. All
I don't
know
think
is
it be.
29,000
I don't
feet.
think it can be a continuous climb over 1,000.
It can't be a loop. It's got to be an out back.
And up and back, just up and down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so you could theoretically, where I live here on top of a mountain or a hill or whatever it's called. If that was the case, you're going to have to do that thing 60 times.
60 times.
I think the most I've done it is 10. And when I did it 10 times, I'm like, I
that's
don't want to do
brutal.
it anymore.
Yeah, it's incredibly brutal.
I haven't done 10 yet. I've never hit 10. I think I've hit like 5 or 6. Whenever we do the Prune Hill 10K or something.
Yeah.
I'm doing it a couple times.
This sounds terrible.
I think it'd be a fun little fall thing. We got to wait for it to cool down a little bit because we're not going to do this on like a day when it's like 90%
Would you like to watch
humidity.
Evan try to do this?
Maybe the first 4, and then I'm like, forget this.
You could just like yell things at me if I talk about quitting and be like, no, you said you were going to do this. You're going to finish this.
Yeah, I could do that.
But we could just have we could just set our bottles right outside of Jake's garage so everybody can sit there and drink while people drop out.
It was a good spot to kind of regroup or whatever.
What's the reason behind wanting to do that? Is it a fitness thing, or is it just something like a bucket list thing for you?
Almost a bucket list sort of thing. I had a buddy who did it, and I was like, that sounds like something that'd be really funny to do, like at the end of a season.
We're talking like 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
Or 12?
Yeah.
Or something stupid?
Probably 8 to 10 hours, I think.
It's more than that.
With a climb like that, maybe 10 hours.
Well, Richie Port did his not too long ago, and it took
how
him
long did it take him?
like 12 or 14 hours.
Oh, never mind. It's gonna be 12 then. Yeah,
it's a long day, dude. It's like you're gonna be up at the crack of dawn.
It'd take me 15.
It would take you 15, you think?
Yes.
Let's think.
Well, let's think. I mean, we did Prune Hill 10K, and that took us a long time.
Yeah,
what did
that's
that
10,000 feet of elevation.
Did that take us 6 or 7 hours?
How long?
Yeah, because it was 56 miles.
That times 3. Yeah, that's
12.
Yeah, that's 18 hours.
18 hours. Oh. All
yeah,
right.
That's probably a pass on me.
Well, we could go watch him do it.
Yeah.
I'd like to give it a shot. I am not. That's why I was saying is people going to attempt it. I don't think I'm actually going to get there, but it'd be cool to actually get there.
We didn't get to do our Prune Hill 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
10K was what we call our 10,000 feet of climbing ride last year because we lost Michael the weekend that we were supposed to be doing it. And I wasn't able to do it anyway because I was still in the disabled list. We'll have to do that again this year and have you come out and just experience that before you start saying you want to do 20.
I was just going to say maybe I could just do it that day because if I get to if I make it to 10 at that point, I might as well.
Might as well.
You might as well do 30.
Might as well do 30.
Yeah, same thing. 10, 30.
Might as well triple it.
That's like saying I'm going to go race a 10K, but I might as well do the marathon right
just do
after
the
it. I
marathon.
might as well just continue.
Lance, you got another one for us?
Next thing I'm looking forward to is training camp.
Yeah.
That was so much fun last year, and just fun to be with my pals and just ride every day. I'm looking forward to it.
What
again.
weekend is that going to be again? Do we know yet roughly?
Towards the end of February.
Towards the end of February.
Or the Maybe the third week of February, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it's going to be somewhere.
I like the whole, like, I got to get in shape for training camp.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get fit. I'm going to be in trouble if I don't train for training camp.
I was almost in better shape for training camp than I am right now.
You were in really good shape over the winter. You were in great shape over the winter.
You were doing some fun stuff. So
you were riding like 20 hours a week then, weren't you?
Yeah.
I've asked so many people that have done the training camp with us before and that are wanting to go in the future, where do you want to go this year? And nobody's giving me a straight answer like, this is where I want to go. Like, there's a lot of stuff like floating around. Like, people have been talking about Hawaii, but I just don't think that's realistic.
I think Tucson it's something that we should think about. Because you've got
that's come up though, and I just don't know enough about that. People keep saying that there's really only one good climb there, and you just need to go do that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, but you've got the Saguaro National Parks, and there's 2 sections of that, and there's good climbs through those. And, and it'd be warm, most likely, and
good weather. I mean,
so yeah, Tucson could be interesting.
I mean, so I think if you want to make it easy, Southern California or Tucson or something like that, that's easy.
You want guaranteed nice weather? Hawaii. We could go to Kona. We could do all those climbs.
Oh, triathlon takeover. I'll bring my TT bike.
TT bike.
Me and Matt would for sure just bring all of our open water and TT
Except
bike.
all our wives would hate us.
Yeah.
Because we're going to Hawaii.
Going to Hawaii and doing nothing but riding bikes.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
I just scratched that off my list because that was one of mine as well. Matt, do you have another one to add to the list?
Well, this is less cycling, but for me, tomorrow, cross-country season starts.
There you go.
And it's 6 days a week, couple hours every day, and long weekends. And
as a coach, you're one of the local high school coaches.
Local high school coach, yes. Yep. Thanks for the back, bit there.
I
was like, just kind of start rambling.
I assume everyone just knows everything. Programs in the nation.
We do. We'll have a down year, I think, this year. But it's one of those things that kind of takes over, and it's fun to some degree.
Yeah, because it's practice every day in meets.
It ends up being a lot, but then I find myself getting really into it and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's fun. I mean, we go to all the races and travel a lot with the kids, and it's fun.
How does the girls team look this year?
I think they'll do okay. We don't lose anyone.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we're gonna be. I think we'll be about the same. We'll see which. We'll have a whole bunch of freshmen come in, and that
see what
we'll see what happens there. We might be a little bit better than last year. And then on the guide side, we lost some
you guys lost
big guys,
your big hitters,
yeah. So that's okay. We'll still be fine. We'll still do well. I'm guessing like our goals should be, top 3 or 4 for the girls team, top 3 or 4 for the guys team. But we'll see.
You guys are still Camus. You'll pull it together. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
I have another one. Starting a new routine. So for me, it's kind of nice that we're transitioning out of summer. Kids are going back to school, and my life will get a little bit easier because it won't be. Yeah, I do a lot of work from home, and the kids are at home, and it just works out well that I can do both things. But it's really kind of difficult to try and mind them and make sure that they're kind of being entertained and trying to work at the same time. So getting them out of my hair first will be nice because I'll have not a clean slate, but I'll have the ability to kind of rework my schedule to come up with a new routine. And for work, I can work that a lot easier with, just being able to manage that. And then coming up with a training program that I can actually follow. And part of that's going to be hitting Matt up here again pretty soon to start doing stuff like Pilates.
I know.
And then
that's
we get back to our lunch rides.
Yep.
Hopefully you'll get back on the bike and we can start riding again soon.
Yeah.
And then actually getting into an actual training program that's structured probably sometime in October so that I can start working up towards the 2020 season. I'm just really looking forward to getting into that structure. And I've kind of been dancing with it all year long, but I've never really kind of drilled in anything other than I just want to get this many hours in a week and have fun on the bike. So it'll be nice to get back to just laying down a nice routine, seeing how that rolls.
That is the nice thing about the fall, I think. I mean, I know at least from a triathlon perspective, it's always, this is when the off season hits. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's always fun just to think, it's just wipe the slate clean, get back to a different style of training for a little bit.
Yep.
Start to have fun with it again.
Yeah, because you kind of get, you get a little worn down with the racing and stuff like that. And it's like, I get back to my training regimen.
Especially August, September. There's so many races in August, September that people do that you get really burnt out in the triathlon world during that time period. Sure. And then going into October, I mean, I've never raced in October before. So for me, I love October because that's when I get to run. Yep. I get to go on long bike rides with my cycling friends. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It does, especially that second part. The second part's the best part.
Gotcha. Kick it over to you again, Mr. Lance.
One of the things I look forward to in the fall after cyclocross season is over is just mindless riding.
Yeah.
Just being able to get on my bike and just go cruise without some specific agenda, because it seems like every ride I do, I've got some kind of agenda. An interval session I want to do, a KOM I'm shooting for, you know. So to just do something mindless is always, I look forward to that.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Evan.
Yeah, that was actually going really, really close off the mind, was starting to plan different rides that really don't fit into training schedules very well during the summer, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, so like for cyclists, like during road race season, it's not like, you know, weekends have so much racing into them that you can't always plan that, like, okay, let's drive somewhere and do this ride. And that's kind of what I'm excited to do. Is there's a couple rides on my list that I want to do. I missed the Windy Ridge ride this year, so I want to go back over there, even though that's pretty. When does Windy Ridge usually not rideable? November?
For snow.
Okay.
For snow above like 4,000 feet, and it's done.
Yeah. Because that's usually going to be like the first week in November, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I know I got to get that done September, October.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, Evan, you got another one?
No, I'll think of one here in a second.
Evan, one of mine was like, you know, you briefly mentioned that you might potentially start doing some like strength training classes and stuff like that. Like that would be probably pretty good for an old man with busted Achilles and
actually, I'm probably gonna be inviting all three of you to. So I run one on Monday right now with a group of triathletes and runners, 6 or 7 people usually. We usually get around 6 that show up to it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be opening up more of those classes here in the future, which I'll be talking about on later podcasts, definitely in detail. But yeah, that's for me, my favorite thing to do as a medical provider that I've found has really not a whole lot to do with like your traditional physical therapy, which is, you know, I mean, I love physical therapy, but I love working with people that have goals in mind, whether they're injured, not injured, wanting, you know, to better themselves in some sort of way. That's where I'm happiest. And that's really these sort of classes. I'm trying to really meld the physical therapy world with the strength and conditioning world, and also specifically what does an endurance athlete need. And I think that's a world, and Jake, having been inundated in that world for a while, understands there's, for whatever reason, this disconnect that I think is starting to be healed. But there was always a disconnect between the strength and conditioning world and the physical therapy world. You get these physical therapists that get done with you in physical therapy, especially as a runner. I'll say, I'll use the runners, and they'll say, well, you know, you can stand on your toes and walk around.
There you go.
And when I tap your Achilles, Matt, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So you're good, right? You're
See
fine.
you later.
Yeah. Bye. Now what? You go back to practice. It still hurts at the 5K mark. Why does it still hurt? And I don't think that there were enough physical therapists out there skilled enough to really meld that, there needs to be this massive bridge program. And we don't need to just take running away from Matt and then pretend like, if we just do these band exercises twice a week, it's going to just get better. You know, there is a bridge process. And I enjoy being a part of that bridge process more than being on one side of the spectrum or the other. So.
I'm hoping that sometime, maybe November timeframe or something like that I can get in and do some like strength stuff that we just make like part of our life routine. Yeah. Because, you know, if I don't have a good routine, then, you know, it's kind of a flash in the pan, and it's not going to really help that much. So,
and with all of us, I mean, it's just like Jake was talking about getting into a new routine.
Yeah.
You just got to assess your routine in the fall and winter. Yeah.
Yep. I really need that Pilates, something terrible. For the shoulder recovery stuff, I'm so sick and tired of this. It's been 15 months and I'm still struggling and still dealing with issues. And I think that will be something that will be low impact, that'll help me start to build even more strength and kind of take me out of the mundane routine that I've been in, and kind of challenge me different ways. So kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's good.
And I love how my body reacts to Pilates, and I think it helps me a lot on the bike. So I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be a win-win situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Here's another one. We here in the Pacific Northwest find ourselves riding on the trainer quite a bit. As much as we don't want to admit it, it's just a part of who we've become. You know, it's just kind of part of being, for me at least. I mean, there are people that are still riding all the time outside, and I just can't do that. It's just not my thing. I'll go out and ride in the bad weather, but you're going to be stuck on the trainer. I'm going to log quite a few hours on the trainer. Yep. So last year, I really enjoyed the ability to plug into YouTube And I know that kind of on the surface, well, why YouTube? But there's so many things that you can teach yourself. So if you're sitting on there for, an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, there's so many things that you can assimilate. And, when you're going through those tough intervals, you just press pause, come back to it and start learning again. I'm really looking forward to jumping into a couple different areas to start learning new stuff. Last year I did a lot with photography, and I've learned a lot about like the Adobe Creative Suite and working with Lightroom. And this year I want to really get into the cinematography video component and start to do some stuff with Matt and start to develop our own channel for the Dialed Cycling and just doing product reviews. And I want to be able to master that, and I'm going to learn everything that I possibly can. So that'll be one thing, but there'll probably be a couple others. So I'm really looking forward to like kind of going into YouTube University here and just learning some new stuff. It's
totally.
It's
YouTube
a great
University.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
As a quick tangent, Matt, do you have any plans for your YouTube channel that you're really kind of pumped on and you're looking forward to for the winter time?
Oh, I have just ridiculous amounts of here's something that I need to do. Here's another, and so I'll have these lists, either on my phone or on like a notebook or whatever, and I'll have like 20 ideas in the notebook, and then I look on my phone and I'm like, there's like 27 on my phone. I'm like, it's a matter of just having time to do it and do it the way I want to do it and stuff like that. And so I have a ton of ideas. I'll definitely do, these are all triathlon stuff, so you guys definitely want to hear all about it. But I'll definitely do, talk about the World Championships and stuff like that. And I want to do some stuff with, I've been talking to Jake forever about like, there's so many fun things that we should do together.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And then Evan and I also have been saying like, there's these things. And then Lance is up for anything because it's just like, let's do it.
Text me and I'll do it.
Let's do it. So I do have some stuff that I want to get all of your guys' help with, and so lots of different stuff to do for sure. I mean, it's just a matter of like when to do each thing. So
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
I'm just curious to know like
what's coming
your
up,
process is, what's coming up. Do you got any good series coming up, or is there anything fun that
there's a series that I'm really excited about that I'm definitely going to do, and I'm actually saving it for this fall time frame, and it's going to be like, I'm going to call it probably Zwift versus. So it'll be Zwift versus Trainer Road. I'm going to do an episode there. And then it's going to be a Zwift versus Sufferfest and talk about that. And Zwift versus Peloton, which I'm excited about that. I'm going to borrow someone. I'm probably not going to borrow and take someone's Peloton. I'm just going to go over to their house and do something like that.
Quick question. Did Wahoo just purchase Sufferfest?
Wahoo purchased Sufferfest.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to try and go toe-to-toe with Zwift? Or try and...
It's a monster. Zwift is a monster, right?
So it's the gorilla in the middle of the room, yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's just Wahoo can't go against Zwift because it's a weird situation, right? Because now they have this software suite that competes directly with a company that they basically need to be in bed with. Like they have to be tied so closely. In fact, Zwift was selling Wahoo stuff for a while, and they also would sell. There's another trainer company that they were selling stuff. Anyways, because Zwift needs these training companies also, obviously. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So everyone's, I'm sure, being very careful, but I think they're hedging their bets. And Sufferfest was probably a very affordable purchase for them.
Probably.
So
yeah.
So
and Zwift would not be.
This is taking a step back from Matt just for a second here. I think when we talked about this last year, when we talked about your YouTube channel, roughly how many subscribers do you think you had last year this time?
I don't know.
It was definitely
200
less.
Or something.
Yeah. So at that time, Matt LeGrand, the international pop star,
he's so cool. Yeah.
was beating you pretty handily.
Oh yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
I just checked the numbers now.
I just passed him up.
You have just now eclipsed Matt LeGrand, the international pop star.
So for people
which I think means we actually have a YouTuber at the table now, like a true YouTuber.
True YouTuber.
I think so. So are you going to start doing music now too?
Oh yeah. That's always been part of the plan. If you guys search for me and you come across a guy that is singing to girls on the beach with his shirt open,
that's also you.
It's not me.
That's alter ego.
They only know my radio voice, so that's me. I have a
the guy in the triathlon videos is not you.
I have a singing channel. I have a singing channel, and I have a triathlon channel. So you guys can subscribe to either one.
You have 740 subscribers. He has 665. You are soaring past him into this stratosphere of YouTubers.
Well, he's pretty cool. So it's hard to top that guy for sure.
I hope that me bringing this up does now bring him more subscribers, because if he now eclipses you, I feel like it's my fault.
It will be your fault. Well, if he comes up with another big hit where he sings on the beach with his shirt open to girls, then
he does have a song called 12 a.m. that I've heard. It's terrible. This guy's awful. I'm sorry.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Agree to disagree. I think he's awesome.
I know your kids would get very mad at me for saying
We've
that.
said this before. Matt's channel is a powder keg ready to explode, and I think this winter, I think that you're gonna like really explode again.
Anytime, really.
Seriously, because
I think
there's
you have to
so
join
many
forces
people
with
that are
Matt
doing
LeGrand.
that same thing. They're watching YouTube, they're searching, they're trying to learn. They're going through that process while they're riding on the trainer. They're going to start finding you, and I really think that you're going to take off.
I'm curious if it's the opposite. If you'll have like the triathlon dip where people are like, I don't care about triathlon anymore. I'm into bowling now. It's wintertime, like I don't whatever sport, right? And so I'm thinking like maybe the people are searching for YouTube triathlon videos now because it's summertime. And so
I think during the winter they may more because of the same reason that me and Jake search on YouTube, which is once we're on the trainers. I watch all my YouTube videos during the summer.
My YouTuber has dipped way down this summer just because I'm not into that. I'm not watching a lot of TV. I'm not I'm busy doing other stuff. I'm working. I'm out riding. I'm out having fun with my friends. Just not watching the YouTube.
I catch up on like all the GCN videos, all the Matt LeGrand videos over the winter. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's fun stuff to watch for sure. So.
Cool. Let's run around the table one more time and see if we can fill any back holes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Lance, you got any more? I think you were done last time. You're done?
I'm done.
Evan, you done?
I'm actually looking forward very much to watching the international cyclocross.
Oh yeah,
professional races. Speaking of YouTube races,
it should be interesting.
Yeah,
it's
gonna, just because now we've seen that a lot of those guys do translate into professional road cycling very well. It's cool to watch the young guys there, and I guarantee you're gonna see some of those names get picked up by road teams here in the next year's season or two.
Cool. Matt, you got one more?
Oh, I got 4 things for you guys.
Bring it.
UGLY.
Excuse me?
Ugly Christmas Sweater Ride.
Oh
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's right, guys.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner. Now, this is fall and winter, and we usually do that when somewhere, kind of in the fall.
First week in December. Yeah. First Saturday in December.
Oh, okay, first Saturday. And so that is a ride that I might have missed one, but I think you've done it 3 years or so.
Yeah, this is year number 4 coming up.
And it's one where you raise money, and it's just fun.
It is
and
fun.
We had a huge group last year. And
over 50 people, yeah.
I think if we talk about it and you guys talk about it,
like 3 times on that ride.
Yeah, I think that we could. I think we make that ride very large, and I think it's a good one. So
yeah,
I love it.
I'm excited about that one.
It's awesome. For those of you that haven't heard us talk about that before, like Matt said, it's an ugly Christmas sweater ride, and everybody puts on their best ugly Christmas sweater. There's prizes handed out for multiple different categories. People decorate their bikes with lights and streamers and just all kinds of like crazy Christmas stuff. And it's a long
flat ride.
Long flat ride. It's about 35 miles, I think. But it's super casual, super easy.
Yeah.
We stop for coffee. We stop for a photo op. But the whole driving purpose behind the ride is to create kind of awareness for this campaign that we put on. And that's us raising a bunch of money for buying bikes for less fortunate kids. So we call it our Bikes for Kids campaign. And last year we were able to buy about 20 Cannondale bikes for kids. And these were some really nice bikes. Cannondale stepped up and helped us out. Giro Helmet stepped up and gave us a killer discount on a bunch of helmets and got the kids some bike locks. And then we went and delivered to them all the bikes to the kids, and they were just beside themselves. I mean, they could hardly contain themselves. They were so excited. So that was fully the payoff moment was fully worth it. So
it was really cool to be a part of all that.
It's a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again this year. Good one, Matt. I like that.
Yeah.
There's something coming here pretty soon that I'm very excited about. BMC's unrestricted URS gravel bike is almost upon us.
Almost.
I've got one earmarked for myself, and I'm really stoked on that. How much gravel riding will you want to do this winter? Is that going to be something that you're going to want to do a lot of?
Yeah, I'll keep gravel riding for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm not giving that up.
I'm super looking forward to that. So
it's fun.
I'm gravitating more and more towards that, like a lot of other people are, for obvious reasons. I just need to get away from cars.
Fewer cars out there.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, any tech coming out I know that Garmin's about ready to release a bunch of new watches. They've got their new Phoenix 6 coming out. They've got
Phoenix
the
6.
new Vivo Active Music 4 or something like that. They're coming out. That's coming out this coming week. And there's a few other things that are coming down the pipeline. Is there anything else that you can think of that's coming out tech-wise? It's
what I
that
thought
time
was
of year.
Interesting was the Wahoo computer having access or integrating the Garmin radar into the Wahoo computers. I thought it's a small thing, but it's like it makes the difference. And I am going to do a video about this, but it's like makes me okay with purchasing the Wahoo computer.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought one otherwise.
I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. Yeah, and so that makes that reasonable, and it's actually a really nice computer. And just the way that they do things slightly differently, it's better. So anyway, so that's cool. I mean, I guess that really was kind of a week ago or so that was out. So it's not really coming up. Usually at Kona, they'll sometimes announce some TT bikes and stuff like that. So I'm kind of hoping that they'll announce some sort of I might be in the market for a new TT bike.
Should.
I don't know. So yeah, triathlon
you
takeover.
could look at, I know that I've bashed on them before, but the Ventum, this last year's model in the Ventum was pretty neat looking compared to what they've come out with in the past.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to continue to improve it or if it's going to...
I have a feeling that company's not going to go anywhere, but that's,
I don't think so.
That's my gut feeling. Ventum, basically, if you guys remember the old 80s Lotus bike, which was, do you remember, it's like basically, it's not a beam shape, but it's like a Z shape, kind of.
It basically took the top tube directly down into the C tube and left out the down tube.
Yeah. And so it was an extremely fast bike, and it was one of these famous bikes back in the day. It was just because it was very aerodynamic, the original one that was written. They've taken the same concept, and Ventum actually was like, I don't know if it's like Spanish for wind or wind tunnel, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't test that well in the wind tunnels. It's like, that's
over the last few years, and I think their last year model they improved because it does look very different. They really widened that C2, so they're trying to.
They're figuring it out.
They're basically just going to almost extend it into like a pseudo down tube. I think at some point is what it's going to be, more of like a half triangle is basically almost what it looks like now.
Well, best of luck to them. I hope they survive. I mean, it's a tough place to. Can you imagine starting a bike company and be hope we make it? And you got pros to pay. You're paying pros to ride their bikes and stuff.
It's a tough industry. Yeah.
In triathlon, yikes. So anyway,
all right, you guys. Anything else?
Man, that's pretty good.
Nope. So the 10, and we're going to stress this part, ish.
Oh, yeah.
Cycling triathlon things that we're looking forward to this fall and winter. There you go. That was it.
We definitely more than 10, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was ish.
Ish, yes. All right, let's move on to one last thing. Lance.
I have nothing.
Nothing. No one last thing.
No one last thing. I have anything to plug. I love my wife. There you go.
There it is.
Your Trophy Cup tomorrow?
Trophy Cup tomorrow. Yep.
Good luck.
Thank you. Portland Trophy Cup. It's a 5-race series down at Portland International Raceway, but it's a cyclocross race. It's usually under the lights.
Oh, cool.
So, but I'm going to try to race the 50 pluses again and see how it goes. So,
Het Meer on Saturday?
Yep. That's the Sandy race. So,
blind date?
That's on Wednesday night. I might do that too.
Got to do it all. Collect them all. Got to collect them all.
It's that time of year.
I got to decide
3-4 races a week.
All three of those series, there's a chance for call-ups for the Cyclocross Crusades this year, which is different than in years past. And so I have to see which one I need to focus on and see which one I'd stack up at,
Go with Under the Lights. I think that's all. That's
well,
you
Blind
Date
and Trophy Cup are both more or less under the lights. So
okay.
Gotcha. Evan, one last thing.
The IT World Championship was this last weekend, and it was in Switzerland. Everybody, speaking of YouTube, go and watch that race. It was a blast.
Yep.
But Christian Blumenfeld, doing it for all the big guys out there. He beat Mario Mola, who not that we generally, we've talked about weight in this on the past, just to give you an idea.
We've also talked about drugs in the past.
We've also talked about drugs. We're not going to talk about that because I do have my suspicions. But anyway.
That's what I'm wondering. That was my next question.
Christian Blumenfeld, I love that guy just won because he has been like second and third in way too many races in his life. And he always gets run down by Mario Mola, who weighs all of 120 pounds.
It's a
classically
runner.
Your fast runner.
Yeah.
Christian Blumenfeld running looks like he's sprinting the last 200 meters of a race at all moments of that race, the entire time. So if you're a big guy and you're doing triathlon, watch that guy race and just be inspired because he battles through that entire. He had the fastest run on the day too. He outran Mola, like tape to tape outran Mola, which was absolutely incredible. So
unbelievable.
A big win for the big guys. Me and him are not the same build at all, but a big win for big guys.
Sure.
Yeah. Lance,
I have nothing. No comment.
We're getting too close to all this triathlon.
too much triathlon talk.
October's right around the corner. Oh, this is like, in Game of Thrones, like the winter is coming. It's like Kona is coming. Yeah.
Matt, one last thing.
I don't have really much to go on for one last thing. Go to my YouTube channel. I'll post videos there.
And you want to give them that address?
YouTube.com/mlegrand, MLEGRAND.
That's the pop star, right?
You can find me, and I'll be singing with my shirt off.
A song called 12 a.m.
So does the pop star guy have Matt Legrand, and that's why you're M. Legrand?
No, I don't know what he has. I thought M. Legrand was nice and short and sweet. Yeah.
Gotcha. I was going to say, because you're bigger than he is now, you should be able to go take that away from him.
I can probably take whatever I want.
Go take his lunch money, man.
Whatever I want. Yeah.
Oh, my one last thing is we've got one last cyclocross practice this Wednesday out at Vancouver Lake. If you're here and local and you want to join us, we'll be out there at 6 o'clock doing our last cross practice of the year. And then on Friday, we're going to have an encore fog hat ride.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it will be. Well, this last one was deemed or posted as our last one. We're going to do an encore. Per request, we had quite a few people that regularly come out to do that ride and asked if we could do like one or two more. I'm like, all right, we'll do one more. It's just starting to get too dark too early. So what we did is Mark Weinrich, you know Mark, he's a friend of ours.
I've been with him a lot.
He is really good at the Strava art.
Oh, cool.
So we are going to do Mark's turtle ride. So
that's awesome.
It takes about 45 minutes, which fits in the window of time that we have to work, and it's only like 9 or 10 miles. So it'll be a fun little last send-off ride for us to go do the turtle ride, so we can turtle our ways on into the winter.
I like it.
So, yeah, that was bad. Sorry.
I don't like it. As long as you're not turtling right now.
Hey, let's end this podcast quickly because one of us is.
Wrap it up.
Thank you for listening. Check us out on our Facebook page at Dial Podcast. Check us out on Instagram at Dial Podcast. Shoot us an email to any one of our first names at Dial Podcast, and we will be happy to get back with you. And we do want listeners to connect with us for the Listener Hot Lap, so be sure to connect with us for those. On that note, Matt, Evan, Lance, welcome back.
And Gerrie, sorry you're having to wait in your driveway now a little bit longer, but I'm going to extend this another 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, just so he has to sit there and listen to this just for a little bit longer. Maybe thinking it's still going to go on, and we're good.
We're still talking.
All right, you guys have a good week. We'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.